Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyamudiyayat. Nastraya Savatya Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamastoke Bhakti Bhagavati Naistike. Today we will discuss Canto 1, Chapter 2, verses 11 to 16. Verse 11 is on the board. I will read the Sanskrit and then the translation. Padanti tattva vitas tattvam gacchānam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti paravaniti sapyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Omajnanatimandasya Janansanam Sakshamilitamina Tasmai Shikharave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namni. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskachaya Dasataya. Srila Prabhupada stated that Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna, they are the sum total of all things. We heard that Sukadev Goswami is giving us the Srimad Bhagavatam as the torchlight to get us out of the darkness of Kali. So Bhagavad Purana of Srimad Bhagavatam is a sign of devotion because it gives attraction to Krishna. We will hear more about this in the next class, in the next section, starting with verse 17. So getting this attraction for Krishna, that's actually the param dharma, the goal of life. Or, in other words, it is actually the means to attain the goal, devotional service, which is the highest dharma. So every dharma that does not lead us to attraction to hearing and chanting about Krishna is useless. It's a waste of time. Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture, the occupation of the body, the occupation of the mind, and the occupation of the intelligence will not give us satisfaction. Only the occupation of the soul, and that is bhakti. We do not find satisfaction in this world. Therefore, only devotional service to Krishna can give us full satisfaction. But that service must be a haituki and a pratyata, costless, without motive and without interruption. This only can satisfy the self. We learned also that we should be conscious of our duty to Krishna and see whether or not our activities are leading to attraction to Krishna. See how we are using the fruits of our bhakti. We should not misuse the fruits for our sense gratification. This is a warning by the Srimad Bhagavatam and by Srila Prabhupada not to become degraded in the name of religion. Our destiny is fixed. We can't change it, but we can change our consciousness. That is the point, and especially in the next class, we will see the process of change of our heart, of the consciousness, change of consciousness. We heard that the purpose of our existence is to inquire about the absolute truth. Now, today we will continue, and today we will hear what is exactly that absolute truth. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, according to Burijan Prabhu and his lectures, This is the Paribhasya Sutra, the sloka on which the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is based. In fact, there are two Paribhasa sutras. The second is Krishna's Tu Bhagavanspayam. We will discuss that in the third chapter. But this verse of today is one type of Paribhasa sutra. In order to understand the absolute truth, we need to go to the Tattvavits, Tattva Darshina, those who have seen the truth. Those who are Tattvavits, knowers of the truth, they are speaking to us here. Sutta Goswami is quoting the Tattvavits and then say that the absolute truth, because they say, these Tattvavits, that the absolute truth is realized in three different features, according to the capacity of realization, according to the capacity of realization. The Jnanis realize the absolute truth as Brahman. They are searching for the absolute truth. They are searching for the absolute truth through mental speculation. The yogis realize absolute truth through Paramatma, and they are searching for the absolute truth through their mystic yoga practice, through Ashtanga yoga. Devotees realize the absolute truth as Krishna as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are searching for the truth through devotional service. So three types of transcendentalists. Realization of Brahman and Paramatma are partial, because these people, the Jnanis and yogis, see the absolute truth from a limited perspective. They don't see the whole picture. The Jnanis, they see the light, Brahman. The yogis, they see Paramatma, and they are enamored with Paramatma. And unfortunately, they think that they must become one with Paramatma, and that they merge. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to the yogis that they should go further. They should understand that I am Paramatma and are not different. But the devotees, they see Krishna, and then oneness with Krishna in their relationship as eternal servant. That Brahma is effulgence, and Paramatma is his plenary portion. Therefore, the devotees can see the absolute truth in fullness. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gives us a nice story in this regard. Some blind men who were blind from birth, they went to an elephant, and one blind man got hold of the trunk, and he said, an elephant is like a snake, big and long snake. And one of the blind men got hold of his leg and said, no, an elephant is like a trunk. Another got hold of his ear and said, no, an elephant is very thin and long. And another blind man who was underneath the elephant said, no, an elephant is big like a house. So who is correct? Only one who can actually see the whole elephant. So there are three features, but they are advayam. They are one, without duality. What does it mean that they are one? Because they are all referred to one aspect of Krishna. They are all Krishna. When you speak of Brahman, Brahman is Krishna, and Krishna is Parabrahman. As Arjuna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. When you speak of Paramatma, it is also Krishna. Krishna is expanding as Paramatma. So the absolute truth is one in this way. The Jnanis are satisfied to see the light. The yogis go further as they want to see the source of the light. The devotees go all the way. They want to see where the light is coming from. So one time a devotee wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada and asked Srila Prabhupada, and that's interesting. He says, when a devotee goes back to Godhead, does he go to Brahman and Paramatma and all these realizations? And Srila Prabhupada's answer was, yes. Just as you want to go to the sun, you have to go through the sunlight, then the sun disk, and then you meet the sun. So the devotee penetrates Brahman until he meets Krishna, because he is not satisfied with simply seeing the light. He wants to see his beloved Krishna. In Sri Upanishad, Iran Mayema Patrena Satyasyapi Tammukam. Oh my Lord, I can't see you because of this effulgence. Please remove it so that I can see you, your beautiful form. So this is the desire of the devotee. As he approaches Krishna through devotional service, then automatically he will understand Brahman and Paramatma. You do not need to sit in yoga meditation and do all these things. You will realize everything in Krishna. Next verse states who is qualified to see Brahma, or to see Brahma Darshan, or to realize the absolute truth. That's Shradadana Munayo Jnanavarahya Yuktaya Pashanti Atmani Samanam Bhaktyashuta Hritaya. The serious inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and attachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So Shradadana is the first qualification. Sometimes people say, can you show me God? Have you seen God? The answer is yes, you can see, but you need to have qualifications. You need to have this Shradadana. This word in the next chapters is repeated, Shradadana. You must have faith. You need to have at least a little faith, Shradadana, to see Krishna. Only an expert mechanician can understand what is wrong with the engine of a car. So what qualifications must one have to understand and see God? Shradadana, first faithful. Srila Prabhupada says great eagerness to see God. So Srila Prabhupada, he tells about a thief who is very eager to see Krishna. A thief went to a Srimad Bhagavatam Saptaha and heard the speaker saying, when Krishna goes to the forest, it is decorated with jewels. The thief thought, yes, I must meet Krishna. He went to Vrindavan and was thinking, I must meet Krishna and get all his jewels. He had so much eagerness that actually Krishna came to him. The thief said to Krishna, you have so many jewels, please give me a few of them. I need them very much. Krishna replied, oh, I cannot do that. My mother will be very angry. My mother, maybe she will beat me. After some time, the thief got a change of heart and he said, anyway, I don't want your jewels. I just want to be your servant. So Krishna said, you can take my jewels now. You can have them. In this way, eagerness is required. Mother Narayana shared the following. One of my godbrothers had eagerness in the same way. He saw Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was wearing a golden watch. He thought, I must go and steal this watch. So he went to meet Srila Prabhupada. And after meeting Srila Prabhupada, he forgot about the watch and he became a devotee. And later Srila Prabhupada told him, don't worry, I will give you so much opulence. And it happened when Srila Prabhupada was here, although he had no money, he was traveling all over the world. He became a famous movie producer and actor. He got 2-3 apartments in Juhu and in most expensive places in Bombay. It's like Dhruvam. You have the desire, and then you meet Krishna and you don't want it anymore. So, but Krishna gives it to you anyway. No matter what the motivation is, Srila Prabhupada said, if you have this eagerness, Shradadana, and faith, and if you have developed that eagerness, then Muna Yo, you become a Muni, a great sage. Now, what is the quality of this Shradadana? This is explained in the next line. Jnana Varahya Yuktaya. This is imbued with Jnana and Varahya. So we already discussed that the goal of life is to get knowledge. Jnana and Varahya. Srimad Shankaracharya's requirement to study was to have to take sannyas, Vairagya. First become a sannyasi, and then we will talk Vedanta. This was Shankaracharya. Of course, our Bhakti school does not have that condition. The Jnanis and Astanga yogis, they do not accept Hriyastas according to Srila Prabhupada. Only the Bhakti school accepts Hriyastas, because in our tradition, the Hriyasta is an ashram. Now, what is it that we must renounce? What is renunciation for a devotee? What is the things that keeps us in, what is the thing that keeps us into this material world? It's our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. Mithura Gara, shackles of sex life, desire to be worshipped as Krishna, mental speculation, envy, and malice. Srila Prabhupada says, you must give up the consciousness that I'm the master, I'm God. Give up your puffed up consciousness. It is a matter of consciousness. It are not the things that are bad. It are not the things that I possess that are bad. That they are okay. We can use them. But as soon as we think they are mine to enjoy, then we are in trouble. Then we get pulled down into the ocean of material existence. Why do we need Jnana and Vairagya with Bhakti? So, Burijan, he gave a very nice statement. He said, without Jnana, you don't know what to do. So, and without Vairagya, you cannot do it. You need both. Because without Vairagya, you don't have the determination to do anything. Of course, Bhakti is independent. It does not depend on anything. If you have Bhakti, then automatically Jnana and Vairagya will manifest. Another point is that this Bhakti is not sentimental. Srila Prabhupada would state, this is a science, Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. This Bhakti is based on Shruti. It's not made up. It is not sentimental, as Srila Rupa Goswami wrote. He wrote, Shruti Smita Puranadi Pancha Ratra Vidim Ina. If you do not follow the Puranas and make up your own method of devotional service, it is simply a disturbance in society. Bhaktya Shruta Hritaya, according to the Shruti, according to what we have heard, there are two parallel lines. There is the Pancharatma and the Bhagavad Marg. Srila Prabhupada tells us in Bhagavad Gita, religion without philosophy is sentiment, and philosophy without religion is dry speculation. Simply dry speculation will not attract people. If we simply ring the bell and have no Shravan and Kirtanam, then there is also no attraction. Temples in India are empty because there is no Shravanam Kirtanam. There is no life. Both of them must be there, Bhaktya and Shruti. Now, how to make your life perfect? Now you have Jnanam and Vairagya and Bhakti. What do you do? Text 13. Atapam pirtvya shasta varnashrama vibhagasa svanustitasya dharmasya samsatir hari toshanam. For best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. So we heard that the purpose of life is to find the truth. The truth is Krishna. We should do bhakti to Krishna. Now you know all these things, therefore you should try to please Krishna. This is the goal of life. This is the perfection of life, especially when you are in the Varnashram system. We have disqualifications if we have Shraddha, eagerness for Krishna, imbued with Jnana and Vairagya, and act according to the Shruti. In Bhakti, we can please Krishna. And if Krishna is pleased, then the whole world is pleased. Srila Prabhupada, again, in describing this verse, tells a story from the Mahabharata, where Krishna became very pleased. Duryodhana was always envious of Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, so one time Durvasa Muni visited Duryodhana in his palace. And Duryodhana pleased Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni said, I will give you any benediction. Duryodhana asked, please go to visit the Pandavas after Draupadi has eaten her meals. Duryodhana was so happy because she knew that Draupadi had a special pot and that as soon as she finished eating, there was no food left for everyone. Before she finished, thousands of people could be fed, but after, no one. So Durvasa Muni, with his 10,000 disciples, they went to visit the Pandavas after Draupadi had eaten. The duty of a Kshatriya is to feed everyone, Yudhishthira said. Take your bath, and when you come back, everything will be prepared. In the meantime, they are going to take their bath, and Draupadi is crying for Krishna. Please, Krishna, help. And Krishna came. Krishna said, I'm very hungry, and can you please give me something? But Draupadi said, everything is finished. What can I do? Krishna said, let me see your pot. Then Draupadi showed the pot, and there was a little piece of vegetable left, and Krishna took it and ate it, and the whole world was satisfied. And especially Durvasa Muni and his disciples were satisfied as if they had eaten, filled up to the neck. When they came out of the water, they said, what should we do? Durvasa thought, I'm not going to mess with the devotees. I already got my lesson with Ambarish. Yudhishthira is a pure devotee. If we go back, then they want us to eat. It will be a great offense. So they did not disturb the Pandavas. But the point is that Krishna is satisfied. If Krishna is satisfied, then everyone is satisfied. So Swarup Maharaj poses a very interesting question. He wrote this book on the Bhagavatam, that he asked the question, how do I know if Krishna is pleased? Because here it is said that you need to please Krishna, samsidir haritoshanam. How do we know that? So Swarup Maharaj said, he actually quoted 126 Savai Punsa Parodamo Yato Bhaktira Bhaksya Ahait Kipatiyata Yatmasya Prasidoti. You know that you please Krishna if you have no material motivation and your service is not interrupted and you feel satisfaction. You will feel happiness. So he just read verse 126 and you get the answer. In text 14, Sutta is telling us that you can stay in your occupation at the same time please Krishna. So the answer is in 14. Tasma ekena manasa bhagavan sasvatapati shotapyakya kitapyasya deya puja sanityata. Therefore, with one-pointed attention, one should hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. So we have here another therefore. So if you want to please Krishna, then you should chant here, glorify, and remember, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that in any of the above mentioned castes and orders of life, the four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering, worshipping are general occupations. Without these principles of life, no one can exist. The activities of the living being involve engagement in these four different principles of life, especially in modern society. All activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. So it doesn't matter whether you are a Sudra, a Vaishya, a Kshatriya, or anything. This is your duty according to Srila Prabhupada and according to Srimad Bhagavatam. How can you satisfy Krishna when you don't know who he is? Shrotav. Yeah. Therefore, you have to hear. If you know, you can just sit there, and you have to preach. Kirtitavya, preaching. And if you speak, then Jaya, you have to meditate. What I'm going to say, you need to think about Krishna, because if you think of other things, then that is what you will speak. And puja, worship Krishna. Manmanabhav madbhakto machimam namaskar. This is required. And in the next verse, especially, Smaranam is glorified by Sutta Goswami. Yat anudaya, yat anudyasina yukta, karmaganti nibandanam, shindanti kovidastasya, kona koyat katam katagatim. With sword in hand, intelligent man cut to the binding knots of reactionary war, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So, in Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, there is a different kind of sword mentioned. You should take this sword and cut the banyan tree. What is that sword? The sword of detachment. But here is quite a different sword. Actually, for the Jnanis, they use the sword of detachment, knowledge. But here we have remembering Krishna. But with this sword, one can cut all our karma immediately, just by remembering Krishna. Karma Granti is mentioned here. Narayani said, I was here in Vrindavan, where I saw a marriage ceremony. Very interesting, Vedic marriage. And at one point in the marriage, their hands are put together, and many garlands are put around. Then hands and coconut leaves and many other things. And I was thinking, karma granti. It was so obvious that this is what was happening. Maya is two potencies, avaranatmika and pratyapatmika. Avaranatmika means that you are covered. Maya throws you in a position and you think that you are very happy. The whole is very happy. They eat stool and they like it. And Pratyatmika is that if you try to come to Krishna, Maya takes you away. This is the example Srila Prabhupada gives. Maya covers your intelligence. Srila Prabhupada says that sometimes students come and Maya says, why are you going there? So many restrictions, no meat eating, no gambling, no drugs. Just come here and enjoy for some more time. Don't surrender there. You have to be independent under my control. This is Maya's business. To counteract this Maya's very strong potency, take the thought of remembrance of Krishna. Who knows this? It is the Kovida. The intelligent person, he knows that if I simply remember Krishna, I'm protected. This is the thought of Shravanam Kirtanam, to cut the knot of Karma Granti. There is the story of Alexander the Great. There was a knot somewhere in Delhi, and it was said that he who could untie this knot would be able to conquer the world. So many people would come to untie this knot, and nobody could do it. So Alexander the Great came, took his sword, and he cut the knot. So this is what has to be done according to these verses. We will hear in the next verses, in the next lesson, what happens when the knot is gone. In verse 16, we will hear how we can do this in an easy way. Last verse of today. Twice born sages that by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So in order to get the sword, one must serve the devotees. Yanmat Sevaya. This is how we get the sword. When Srila Prabhupada came to America, he started this movement simply with the sword of chanting and hearing. All the religions came with the scriptures in one hand and the sword in the other hand, and they said, if you don't accept my scripture, I cut off your head. But Srila Prabhupada said, I was not like that. I had a different sword, the sword of hearing and chanting. So this is a different process. It is our process. Syanmat Sevya Vipra. Serve the devotee. The devotee has taste. He can give you Krishna. He has a taste, and he can give you the taste. And he has Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, and he can give you that. So the last paragraph of the purport, go to the last paragraph. So the servants of God come to propagate God consciousness. And intelligent people should cooperate with them in every aspect. By serving the servants of God, one can please God more than directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord and are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 1869 that no one is dear to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one hardly gets the quality of such servant, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. So it's easy to say, oh, we have to serve the devotees. Because we are attached to our misconceptions, the devotees may ask us something that we don't want to do or follow. One time, Srila Prabhupada was on a train in India, in first class, sitting with Tamala Krishna Goswami and other disciples. And one very wealthy Indian man came to see Prabhupada. And he said, Swamiji, please give me your blessings. Srila Prabhupada smiled, and according to Tamala Krishna Maharaj, he said, here is my blessings, you become like him. And he pointed to Tamala Krishna Maharaj. Then the man became confused and said, no, this is not what I meant. Anyway, I have an urgent appointment. I have to go. The blessings that people usually want, they go to the sadhu to cure some disease or get the blessings of wealth or Lakshmi. Different kind of blessings. But the blessings of renunciation or bhakti, they don't want. Gaura Das Babaji said the same thing. This rich man came and said, Babaji, I've built a very wonderful hut. There you can chant the whole day, being protected from the sun, because he was sitting in a latrine. This is not a nice place. I built you a nice house. And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji said, so I have to become your tenant? The man replied, no, whatever you say, I'm your servant. Whatever you say, I will do. And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji was humorous, and he said, oh, whatever I say you will do? The man replied, I'm your servant. Gaura Kishore Das Babaji told the man, I'm telling you, sit down and don't go home. And the man was shocked. And he said, I cannot give up everything. So this was Shilpa's demand also. Give up your nonsense occupations and just surrender to me. The sadhu also will ask this. This is sometimes difficult to follow. Srila Prabhupada gave his disciples instructions they would ordinarily not be capable of following, but he gave them the power to do it. So that's the section of today. Any questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for spending time and giving us the insights of these verses. Maharaj, two questions I have about Paribhasha Sutra. So, my understanding of Paribhasha Sutra was like some kind of a summary. So, how to understand this particular verse from that perspective?
Yeah, so Vadante das Tatvavitas Tatvam Gadam Apyam Pramita Paramatma Bhagavan Iti Sapyate. So this Bhurijan Prabhu says, because I think our Acharya says that also, this is a kind of Paribhasya Sutra, because it gives the essence. It gives first the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. That the essence of Bhagavad Gita is explained at the end of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna in the 18th chapter says to Arjuna, I will give you confidential knowledge, more confidential knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge. So that's a summary of Bhagavad Gita. And he says, the confidential knowledge is Brahma Bhuta Pashanatmana Shoshti Nakamshati Samsavesha Bhutesu Adbhaktim Labate Param. This is coming to the Brahma Bhuta platform, which is Brahman realization. When you are peaceful, you don't lament anymore, and you don't hanker for anything anymore. So that's the first. And then Krishna says more confidential knowledge than that is Ishvara Sarvabhutam Ritisayana Tishtati Brahmayam Sarvabhutnam Yantarudai Maya. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and I'm conducting the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a material who are seated on a machine made of material energy, a yantra. So that's Paramatma realization. And then Krishna says the highest, the most confidential knowledge is Manmana Bhavmatvachomachi Imam Namaskar Mama Vesha Satyante Patichayani Priyosime. You always think of me, become my devotee, you serve me, and you offer me respects. In that way, you surrender to me, give everything else up. So these are three aspects, and that's the conclusion of the Gita. So that's the essence of the Gita, of the knowledge Krishna gives us, and that's also the knowledge of the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam will first help, the first two cantos will bring us to Brahman realization. It will purify our heart. That. And then the creation is described. How Krishna is in, as Paramatma, is in this world through the creation. So that's the next stage. And that's up to the 9th chapter, 9th canto. And then the 10th canto is about Bhagavan realization. So it is the essence of the Bhagavatam, this verse. But the other Paribhasya sutras, Krishna's two Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the origin of all other incarnations. He is Bhagavan. And that goes together with this Bhagavan realization, describes this Bhagavan realization, the highest realization. But first you have to come to the two other stages. So, yes, both verses are essential verses of the Bhagavatam, Paribhasya Sutra. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Maharaj, the other question I have about the statement Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in his purport, the last purport what you read, the eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, many times, there is a eagerness, but that goes up and down because, I get overwhelmed with a lot of other things. Then that eagerness is not there because then, the mind is preoccupied with a lot of things. So how to handle these scenarios? How I can maintain the eagerness always?
The Srila Prabhupada gives the answer in the same purport. He said, you should always associate with pure devotees. They can give you this eagerness. So we have to hear Prabhupada regularly. Even if we don't have taste and the medicine is bitter, we should hear. And it will purify us and we will get the taste. So that's important to organize our lives in a way that for 24 hours a day, we cannot do anything else than think of Krishna. And that's attained by hearing very regularly from pure devotees. It's the pure devotees of the Tattvavits described here. So that's important to hear from those who are. That was the instruction of Bhakti Saramat. You associate, he told me, with everyone who is more advanced than you. And that's where this eagerness comes from. It becomes, it's contaminating, that you become affected by it. Like when we associate with demonic people, we become also affected. So we have to associate with the sadhus very regularly. So whatever you do during the day, try to hear as much as possible the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. Maharaj, one question, if it is okay, on that. So Maharaj, while hearing, many times, I jump from, one devotee's lecture from other devotee's lecture. So it is a it is a pattern where I see, oh, this I like, so I'll hear this. Then no, now I'm bored with this. Now let's hear the other devotee or the other, lecture. So Maharaj, what is the better pattern where I can be steady in hearing?
Hear from Prabhupada. I'm hearing a lot of Prabhupada's lectures. And so many things, so many lectures. Every day I'm hearing. I try to hear Prabhupada. So that's very important. Focus on Prabhupada's hearing first. And then secondary, hear from those who have experience in Krishna consciousness, who are 40 to 50 years in this movement, without falling down, 40, 50 years, hear from them. That my experience is, there are good lecturers, they are 20 years in the movement, but it's not of that quality. That those who are more advanced, who are 40, 50 years in this movement, they have realizations that we should not hear lectures because it's pleasing us or what. No, that's we should hear lectures from those who are more advanced. So I'm quite strict in it. These young devotees, mostly I will not listen to their classes, but of course, if they give a class in the temple, I will hear. Sure, but if I can choose from whom to hear, Prabhupada, and then his direct disciples who have been studying their service, because I've been trained by Prahlad Maharaj in preaching. I was traveling with him for many years. Well, 15 years, but 2-3 months a year. I was his servant. And he would give in the evening a Bhagavad Gita lecture, 20 minutes, and then I would give a lecture 20 minutes right after that. And then in private, he would give me some feedback. Sometimes sweet, sometimes not so sweet. But he taught me how to preach according to Siddhanta. And when I hear lectures, I know those who are preaching according to Siddhanta. Srila Prabhupada gives lectures. If he gives lectures, you can see in every lecture, at least he quotes about 50 verses. I don't hear lectures of devotees who never quote verses. That doesn't make sense. You must preach according to the Shastra and show how you preach according to the Shastra. And repeat what they have said, and repeat what Prabhupada said, what Krishna said. That's the function of preaching. We are just repeating, and we can add our realizations according to our realizations, and that's good. But we have to be very careful. Deviation is quickly there in our movement, very quickly there, and we have to be very strict. That if you hear Guru Maharaj's lectures, he preaches according to Siddhanta, and he had his own realizations, but he had his higher realizations, and not everyone has that. You cannot so-called speak about realizations if you are a young devotee. Then you have to preach according to Siddhanta. I don't know if that makes sense what I say, but that is what I learned in my experience, in my preaching and my education by Prahlad Maharaj, by Bhujan Prabhu, and so on.
Yes, Maharaj. No, actually, it makes perfect sense. Thank you for giving that clarity, because that confusion I had, but your answer clarified that, Maharaj. And then when you get a chance, if you can suggest me some of those speakers, that would help, Maharaj, like their lectures or their links, whenever you have chance.
Yeah, that I don't want to mention names, but if you have understood what I said, you can see you can understand from you can discriminate on the basis of the points that I made.
Sorry, sorry, Maharaj. My question was more on, my request was more on, whom to and what to hear. If you follow some pattern, guiding principle you just mentioned, but if it is possible, please share what you hear and whom you hear. That way, it would be helpful.
Yeah, first I received the lecture of Prabhupada. That's first. And if I prepare a lecture, I'm first going to hear Prabhupada.
Yes.
That and then after that, I may hear from Bhakti Choramachi if he has a lecture on that point, or I may hear from Prahlad Swami or other Prabhupada disciples who have been a long time dedicated and very steady in their service without falling down. That then you can hear from them, but that is what I do. But Prabhupada is the first, and hear from Prabhupada is sufficient in that sense, I would say. That, because all the others are supposed to repeat Prabhupada, that's all. But,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. Any other?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to see you next week. Next week, Wednesday, it is the Govardhan Puja in Radhadesh, where I will be, but in Belgium. I'm now in Ottawa, but I think I will be able to give the lecture because it's at 12:40 in Belgium, that at noon time, when it's morning time for you. But it will be okay. I'm looking forward to look at the next section, which is a very important section. It is the summary of the Bhagavatam. It's a summary of the process of devotional service. Very important section. Good. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai.